There are rivers that carve valleys, rivers that sustain cities, and rivers that inspire legends. Then there is the Nile. Stretching more than 6,600 kilometers, it is a river that has witnessed the rise of empires, nurtured ancient civilizations, and continues to breathe life into the landscapes of Africa today. To journey along the Nile is to follow a ribbon of history and culture, winding its way from the lush heart of East Africato, the sun-baked deserts of Egypt, before finally meeting the blue horizon of the Mediterranean Sea. The Nile story begins with its two great tributaries, the White Nile and the Blue Nile. The White Nile traces its origins to the equatorial lakes of Uganda and Rwanda, most notably Lake Victoria, where its waters first set out on their long passage north. The Blue Nile, born in the Ethiopian highlands at Lake Tana, brings with it powerful currents and rich volcanic silt. When the two rivers meet in Sudan's capital, Khartoum, they merge into the mighty Nile that journeys across the Sahara, cutting a green corridor through an otherwise arid land. Travelers who follow the Nile southward will encounter scenes that feel worlds apart from the golden deserts of Egypt. In Uganda, the river bursts through a narrow gorge at Murchison Falls, tumbling with raw energy before settling again into wide, tranquil waters where hippos laze and fishermen drift in small boats. In Sudan, the Nile passes the enigmatic pyramids of Meroë, silent monuments rising from the sands, a reminder that pharaohs were not the only kings to claim the river's bounty. This part of the journey is quieter, less crowded, yet deeply atmospheric, perfect for those seeking to step off the beaten path. And then comes Egypt, the land where the Nile truly wrote history. For the ancient Egyptians, the river was a god, a giver of life, and a guide to eternity. Even today, its waters are lined with treasures that speak to millennia of human achievement. Cruising between Aswan and Luxor is like drifting through time. Sandstone temples dedicated to gods and kings rise majestically on the riverbanks. Fields of sugarcane and date palms sway in the breeze, and feluccas, traditional wooden sailing boats, glide gracefully across the water at sunset. In Luxor, the grand columns of Karnak and the tombs of the Valley of the Kings tell stories of a civilization that once ruled the known world, sustained by the Nile's steady rhythm of flood and renewal. Cairo, where the Nile finally broadens and slows, is a place where the ancient and modern collide. Here, skyscrapers and bridges overlook the same waters that once carried papyrus boats. Cafes and floating restaurants line the banks, while just beyond the city's sprawl, the pyramids of Giza rise on the horizon, as if keeping eternal watch over the river that made their construction possible. Yet the Nile is not simply a relic of the past. Today, more than 280 million people across its basin rely on its waters. It irrigates fields of cotton and wheat, powers cities with hydroelectricity, and continues to be a highway for trade and travel. The construction of monumental dams, such as the Aswan High Dam and Ethiopia's Grand Renaissance Dam, reflects both the promise and the tension that come with managing such a vital resource. In many ways, the Nile remains as fiercely contested and deeply revered as it was in antiquity. To discover the Nile is to discover a river that is at once timeless and ever-changing. One moment it is a roaring waterfall in East Africa, the next a calm waterway reflecting temple walls lit by the desert sun. It is a place where wildlife flourishes, where farmers tend fields much as their ancestors did, and where travelers can float between worlds both ancient and modern. Few journeys capture the spirit of exploration quite like following the Nile, a river that continues to inspire wonder as it has for thousands of years.